Wait, Grapes? Grapes, are you there?
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Are we on stream?
oh
I'm
my
sorry.
gosh. Is
I
it
mean,
is it time?
Hawk. I'm sorry. I was a little bit late, but I mean, you have to heed the tradition on this sacred day. I was
I
just
mean,
finishing up my meal, but I think we're all ready to go here, and we are here, ready on Taco Tuesday, back at the Proving Grounds Open Qualifier. Welcome to day 2. Once again, I'm Grapes, joined by Hawk, and we got some exciting matchups, of course. The one you see below your screen will be the one to kick us off, but there's just been a lot of interesting things that have been going on over the past couple of days, past couple of months. And as we get ready to get into this action here of the Open Qualifier, I have a short video to explain the format if you weren't here yesterday, to just give you a bit of a preview of what's about to happen in these next couple of hours. So Jolly has a short clip that we're going to take a look at here right now. So take it away.
Welcome to the Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier number 2, presented by Unified. 32 teams will face off in a 5-round Swiss Open qualifier to decide who will advance to the 16-team group stage. The Swiss format matches teams with the same record against each other as the rounds progress, meaning in round 2, the 1-0 teams will play each other while the 0-1 teams play each other, and so on. The 16 teams to reach 3 wins by the end of round 5 will move on to compete in groups, where they will be seeded based on their records and play in a best-of-3 double elimination bracket to decide who will advance to the playoffs. The playoffs will be single elim best-of-3 matches up until the grand final best-of-5 series. Teams will earn points based on their overall performance. Here's how the numbers break down. The top 10 amateur teams across the 2 tournaments will qualify for Proving Grounds. Got it? Good. The action starts soon, so make sure you catch all the games at twitch.tv/academy and the Unified Twitch channels. Which of these aspiring champions will rise to the top in 2022? Come see for yourself.
Thank you very much, Jolly. And if you saw the schedule right there, obviously, we are in day 2 of the Open Qualifiers. Yesterday, we went through the first 2 rounds of that Swiss bracket. And just in order to get a little bit of sense in terms of what these teams are playing for, we do have the point distribution once again to run us through what's going on here, Hawk. And 2 of the teams that we'll be casting today in our first game are in that top 10 here, ready to qualify into Proving Grounds if they keep performing well.
Yeah, IMT AOE, of course, they made semifinals in PGCQ number 1, so they're right up there in second place behind 100 Next, and Taco Gaming, the team that they defeated to get there, having made quarterfinals, getting a boatload of points for that as well. So these 2 teams definitely have a lot to play for, especially Taco, who's a little bit more in the mix with the rest of the teams. And speaking of having good performances, so far in the Open Qualifier, as you said, it's already day number 2. These teams starting off 2-0, Grapes.
Yeah, and the important thing there in terms of points as well is that for each win that you get here in the Open Qualifier, that's 5 more additional qualification points to add on to whatever your performance lined up with in the main event. So again, not only do both of these teams really want to get this win to secure that 3rd victory to get their spot into the main event, but also getting those extra points is definitely going to feel pretty good. And we do have that schedule lined up for you guys as well. Round 3 will be taking place across multiple different streams, across multiple different rifts, pretty much at the same time. If you want to take a look at some of the other things that are going on today, Evil Genius Prodigies is taking on Maryville over on twitch.tv/unified2. Fun fact about that, all 4 of us, DJ Kenobi included, are wearing sweaters today. So it's a nice
Sweater
little
weather.
theme that's going on across the caster desk on our end here. But there's a lot of interesting matchups, of course, that we have, and especially on these main streams, because both of these teams are coming in at 2-0 as well.
Yeah, we've got some primo 2-0 matchups here on the Unified live streams. But of course, don't forget to check out some of the other team streams as well. I know that a few of the teams are streaming their own games. I think over on the IMT AOE stream, they're actually streaming base state. So some cool ones. And we've got some really interesting matchups across the board today that we're going to want to be keeping track of. Not just the 2-0 matches, because of course, if you win these ones, you're in. But we've got some teams at a lot of teams at 1-1, and maybe even some at 0-2 that we might not necessarily have expected. Radiance starting at 0-2, as well as Winston King of Amateur, who we covered yesterday.
Yeah, and a couple other teams that have not, gone through this first day of the OQs undefeated. Teams like Bogged and Wildcard are teams that we were expecting to do pretty well, seeded relatively highly in terms of the way that the tournament seedings ended up lining up for the open qualifier, but are still in need of 2 more victories in order to secure their qualification spot. And we'll see if they're able to do it. Remember, Schoolhouse Rock fans might remember 3 is that magic number. You got to get to that winning record over the 5 in order to secure your spot in the top 16. But I think that's enough talk about the format here, Hawk, because there's a lot to talk about here for this game in particular. Immortals AOE taking on Taco Gaming. And when we say these teams have a history, obviously history in esports is not necessarily what you would consider to be very long. But these teams already have had their fair share of matchups against each other. And so far, it's been very IMT AOE dominated.
Yeah, IMT AOE and Taco Gaming have met 3 times already in 2022, which is more than pretty much any team has really run into each other. And IMT AOE has taken it all 3 times. And Grapes, not only that, but IMT and Taco have played exclusively on Tuesdays, meaning that IMT AOE is 3-0 against Taco Gaming on their very own Taco Tuesday, when against other opponents, Taco Gaming is 4-0 on Tuesdays.
So yeah, this was an interesting stat. Obviously, you watched the last Food for Thought video where I was, trying to make the case that Taco Tuesday was a bit of an advantageous spot for Taco Gaming. But I think especially after the quarterfinal matchup that TG had against IMT AOE, I believe we have that official graphic just to take a look at that, didn't really work out as well for them. And so, yeah, I mean, as we continue to go through everything here, as we go through into this game, 2 players that really did well was those mid laners here. For IMT AOE, it is Shochi, and for Taco Gaming, it's Doxa. And while a lot of these stats are pretty high, Hawk, we do see Shochi maybe getting a slight edge in some of them.
Yeah, Shochi has been able to get maybe the better of Doxa in most of those stats, but Doxa having a slightly higher kill participation. And as you said, across the board, both these players were very impressive in PGCQ #1, and they are players that come in with, I would say, a pretty rich history in their play. But where I'm really looking, Grapes, is potentially those lower stats for Doxa aren't necessarily indicative of the level of skill, but the play style instead. And, I know you got in touch with Taco himself earlier today and heard that we might be seeing a little bit more play around the jungler Trickster, and that Doxa is actually going to be playing a little bit more for, as I think we coined it, Prio Prison, just trying to push out the lane and get over and get resources for this jungler in Trickster to try to carry the game.
Well, I think that's just something that we've actually been seeing throughout a lot of the PGCQ so far this split. I mean, when you think of Doxa, that mid laner that was on that collegiate champion Winthrop University back in 2021, also played on TSM Amateur in the summer split. I mean, you normally think of a player who is a very hard carry, gets a lot of resources on a lot of these hard carry champions. This split has been a little bit different. Of course, you saw those stats were very good for Doxa in terms of damage output and kill participation and things like that. But in terms of just pure, well, first of all, we got a bit of a meme here, just going through the history of Taco Gaming and on the Tuesdays. But going back to Doxa a little bit here. Switching up his playstyle a little bit to more facilitate Trickster, who's a player that we didn't see too much of in 2021, but when we did see him on teams like Wildcard, definitely delivered.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Doxa is a player that I feel like has been known to get resources and use them, and maybe wearing a little bit of a different hat on this Taco Gaming roster, but it's definitely been refreshing to see, and it's clearly been working out for them. I mean, quarterfinals berth in PGCQ #1 is probably, I don't want to say unexpected, but definitely it is a strong showing out the gate for a roster that I think there was a lot of question marks surrounding, and coming in now, being 2-0 in the OQ, having an opportunity to already punch their ticket to the main group stage, and I think being expected to make it there is definitely a good start for this team. But, Grapes, to switch gears maybe a little bit, speaking of wearing a lot of hats, the other side of that matchup, Shochi, a player that has been known to play a lot of assassins, aggressive champions, in his time, perhaps on Radiance last year. Now coming in this year, 2022, on IMT AOE, a little bit more meta, a little bit more mages, but still no stranger to playing some spicy stuff.
I mean, if you were watching the PGCQ last year, you might remember that quarterfinal matchup against Taco Gaming, where Shochi had a pentakill on Tryndamere, which is a champion that we definitely, expect to see out of Shochi
since Worlds
moving forward. Yeah, I mean, Tryndamere, Yasuo, Yone, a lot of these mid lane assassins were things that Shoshi was known for in solo queue back in last couple of years, but ever since joining Radiance back in summer of 2021 has been very more willing to go for more of these global picks. I think his Twisted Fate has looked excellent throughout the past year. Champions like Zillion and Karma are things that we could potentially see out of him as well if he doesn't want to go towards that more carry-oriented role. And so for Shochi and the rest of IMT AOE, I think the question is not like what Shochi can do, is what he needs to do to help the rest of his team win.
Right, and what this means for the rest of his team, too, is that Shochi can fit the role that his team needs him to, and I think this is extremely valuable in a team like IMT AOE that, quite frankly, has carries in every role. We've seen Anime Girl pop off, we've seen Winston pop off, we've seen Meech pop off, and they can do it from anywhere, and we've seen Shochi pop off, but he doesn't always need to. They don't rely on him to 1v9 the game to win. So as you said, things like the Twisted Fate, or even though, you know, things like Victor are very carry-oriented, they're a lot more scaling, chill, just kind of team fight type picks. You know, they're not the center of attention a lot of the time. So being able to wear those different hats, being able to do those different things and be, I would almost say, a chameleon type of player for this IMT AOE roster is an enormous boon on a team with so much talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to try to just repeat history in a sense as they go up against Taco Gaming, because if they just play the way that they did in the last PGCQ, might have some similar results. But
yeah,
the one difference maker here could potentially be for Taco Gaming down in the support role. There has been a roster swap. Gweiss, the former support for Taco Gaming, is no longer a part of the team. Instead, actually, Rovex, the mid laner of Columbia College, going to be stepping into that support role here for TG. And this is a very interesting substitution here, Hawk, because I know personally, as a big fan of that Supernova 2021 summer roster that got their way all the way over to Proving Grounds, there's now 3 players from that roster: Cozy in the top lane, Lynx down in the bottom lane, and now once again reuniting with his bot lane partner in Rovex.
Yeah, and I think interesting is a good word to describe this pickup, because Rovex definitely a very good player in his own right, but I think what we're going to see out of him is going to be sort of subscribing to this philosophy that Taco Gaming is trying to instill with playing around Trickster. We've talked about how Doxa wants to start playing around their jungler more, and also seems that Rovex is going to be doing more to get active on the map, enable the jungler to carry, and they know that down there on the bottom side, Link should be very safe, and so seeing Rovex be able to get active on the map, I think will be a big, not question mark, but something that we're looking out for.
Yeah, and when talking to Taco just about some of the decisions that came behind the roster, he mentioned that, of course, one of the big strengths of Rovex, he said, was one of Taco Gaming's weaknesses throughout the first PGCQ, and that is just in terms of macro play and late game rotations and understanding how the map works throughout the game. He says that Rovex is very, very skilled when it comes to those sort of decisions, despite not being a traditional support player. And so that was some of the reasoning behind adding this player to the roster of Taco Gaming. Another interesting thing is obviously just since he is a mid laner playing that support role, what we saw a lot of last year on Supernova was actually Lynx going for something like a Senna, and Rovex playing more mid lane or soul lane oriented carries. We saw Senna Gwen, we saw Senna Yasuo at some point as well. So always have to keep that in mind. Obviously yesterday in Taco Gaming's 2 wins, Rovex played Tahm Kench and Thresh. So not those, carry mid laner champions, but it's always something that IMTA we have to kind of keep their mind on. Maybe we'll see it here.
They're saving the technology for later on. No, but I do think that is a good, an interesting point. Rovex brings that more macro focus to the team, because I do think when you look down there's, I was talking about the talent on IMT AOE, but it cannot be understated, the talent that is on Taco Gaming as well. And I think across the board, there is the talent present on both these teams for them to go blow for blow with each other. But I do think it is fair to say that IMT AOE, at least so far, has looked like a just more complete team. So it will be a huge point of emphasis if Rovex is able to bring together this Taco Gaming roster in the same way that we've seen IMT AOE be able to do. Maybe not today, but just as the split progresses, that could be something absolutely massive for this team.
Yeah, speaking of bot lanes that have played together in the past here, when we're talking about Lynx and Rovex, on the other side for IMT AOE, definitely another bot lane pairing that we've seen time and time again in Meech and Trevor. formerly on Dignitas Mirage, that team that qualified into Proving Grounds. Meech has had some incredible performances over the past couple of years, and he's been, after Shochi, that next carry that can step up, especially when it comes to some of these later game team fights.
Yeah, Meech is just another one of those 80 carries that you feel so comfortable about giving the game to if it goes late, If Shochi's not going to pop off, if Winston's not going to have some crazy early game, if Anime Girl's not going to gap his lanes like he often does, you have an insanely good 80 carry just to back you up. And again, it kind of goes back to being a complete team. I think that is the true strength of IMT AOE. They got carries across the board. They've got a mid laner that can wear different hats, and they've got an 80 carry that can pop off when he's needed.
As we've headed into the draft for our round 3 of the Open Qualifier, remember, a win here secures your spot in the main event. Of course, both of these teams definitely in a very solid position to do that regardless of the outcome in this matchup, but always nice to just get that little security blanket, make sure that you're in a position to, of course, not having to risk losing out the rest of the day. So just an interesting point to consider as we go through the rest of this game. Interesting to note as well, Taco Gaming on the red side while Immortals AOE on that blue side. And Hawk, we were talking about how Shochi is very comfortable on a lot of different picks. Might not be able to get that counter matchup here now that he's on that blue side.
Might not be able to get a counter matchup, but blue side oftentimes has a lot of room for flex picks. And what I will say too, Grapes, is I just think that blue side is insanely strong right now in the current meta. I think there's a lot of power picks that you can get with first pick. And without having to commit fully for a composition yet, whereas a lot of times the composition on red side is decided in those first 2 picks. Sort of what you're going for, where a first pick like Gwen, like Karma, Zeri, if it's available, Jinx, there's a lot of things that you can kind of throw into any sort of team fight umbrella, I will say. So, that Gwen, of course, getting banned out immediately. I think that's a very good ban. We said yesterday that Gwen is probably the best champion in the game right now, and Taco Gaming clearly agrees.
Yeah, on the other side, it's going to be Ari taken away from Doxa, as well as that Akali. You might think that's a Doxa ban, but of course, if you are familiar with the amateur scene, you know that Cozy's official name is Cozy Shroud, that Shroud referring to Akali. So always have to keep an eye on that one here as we continue to go forward in the draft. Again, on red side, you're more inclined to ban out some of these power picks, things that could be selected with that B1, and the Zeri definitely speaks volumes to that.
Yeah, red side draft right now, I was talking about those power picks. Zeri is pretty much a must ban, but it also almost makes Jinx a must ban because she's, I would say, definitively the second best 80 carry behind the Zeri. So if you ban out one, you have to ban out the other because you're not going to get, and then Gwen likewise being really strong. So I'd expect the Jinx to be last ban, but I do think there's other things that you could throw towards if you're willing to give up the Jinx. It just does mean you're going to be giving over a strong team fighter to Meech, which is not always ideal. I like the Ari ban a lot from IMT AOE target band out towards Doxa. If you don't want this talented mid laner of Taco Gaming to get out on the map and start skirmishing with his jungler, then Ari is a champion that you do not want him on.
Yeah, and obviously won't be on that one as the final ban. A bit of a respect and a callback to that last quarterfinal matchup. It does leave up the Jinx for Meech, as you mentioned before. Also, things that to look out for are potential for a Jarvan pickup or a Lee Sin pickup for Winston here on this first rotation. 2 junglers that he has been very confident on, has been very aggressive throughout this first month of the PGCQ. So we'll see where IMT AOE's priorities lie. Wouldn't expect to see something like that, Caitlyn, but actually going to get locked in here. So leaving that Jinx over to the red side. I mean, maybe they're throwing down a bit of a gauntlet here, Hawk.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit unexpected to me. I definitely was not expecting to see a jungle pick. I think there's a lot of things still available. Jarvan, Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, like you said. But the Caitlyn coming through here, I feel like when you think of Meech and Trevor, it's not necessarily all about the lane. We were talking about Meech as a little bit more of a late game insurance carry, but clearly IMT AOE has said that they want to get their 80 carry going, and we got a Yasuo.
That's exciting. The crazy thing is we have no idea where this Yasuo is going, Hawk. Cozy, definitely he could play. I mean, he's played Aurelia, Camille. He could definitely pull out this Yasuo. Doxa could take it. Yeah, Lynx could take it. Even Rovex if they lock into Senna here. So a lot of flexibility here for Yasuo, but it'll be interesting to see. Normally paired with something like that, Diana. Not going to see it here, but that's an interesting lock-in as well. That Rise signifies that this Yasuo is not going towards that mid lane.
Yeah, so both Doxa and Shochi played a game of Rise yesterday, so I wonder if Taco is actually trying to snap this one up as a little bit of a contested pick. It is proficient in roaming as well with the Realm Warp, so denying it from IMT AOE to play around their bot lane with Realm Warps in the Caitlyn Lux lane, or and also being able to enable Doxa to play around Trickster. So I do think it does a lot of things, but I'm very surprised to see Ryze come out this early. I think it is counterable, and also just generally not the strongest blind pick mid right now, as well as sort of blowing your flex on this Yasuo. So a little bit surprising, but I do think it makes sense when you think about it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's always theory coming behind this, and obviously Taco Gaming is definitely aware of that. I think they have made some additions to their coaching staff, so having a lot of more people to maybe give input in on the draft, always an important thing. On the IMA side, it will be that Lux to match alongside the Caitlyn, so Trevor and Meech with a very, very dominant bot lane 2v2 alongside that Jhin Zhao here for Winston. But here's the lock-in for the Senna here, Hawk. I think we're seeing a Senna Yasuo here. I'm very interested to see, especially just due to the wind wall, you know, that Yasuo does have, can block a lot of those projectiles that Caitlyn and Lux are able to provide.
Yeah, Yasuo does well into Caitlyn. Not quite as well into the Lux. Obviously, the laser's not a projectile, but you can still block the Q and the E. I'm a little skeptical of this. I have no idea how this lane is going to play out. I mean, Caitlyn Lux is just an extremely strong 2v2, no matter which way you square it. And it feels like IMT AOE has sort of gotten everything they want, but Taco Gaming on the other side, definitely a more volatile composition, I would say, is locked in. And I would say that they've gotten everything they want, too. Looking at the picks, very specialized, and maybe not what we were expecting coming into the day. I'm obviously going to be more skeptical of the spicier draft, just because I'm not sure how it's supposed to work. But it's definitely got synergy, and if that Yasuo gets going on the bottom side, you talked about the fasting Senna, it could be a huge problem.
Yeah, we'll see if it's able to be accomplished. We saw this, I believe, in one of the open qualifiers for a Tier 2 tournament in the last summer split for Lynx and Rovex that ended up playing it. They ended up winning. I think it was just against a lower tier OQ team, so hard to really judge how powerful and how strong that bot lane combo really was. But either way, it's something that they've practiced before, probably something that they've been practicing in scrims, and this is what happens when you get a player as flexible as Rovex. I think I mentioned in some of my notes that I think Rovex probably has the widest champion pool out of any other support in this tournament, other than maybe Sword, who also is a mid laner who transferred down to the support role. So we'll see. I mean, Yasuo probably, I don't think is a champion that any other support player in this tournament has picked up yet. But as we get into the second pick phase here, going across the bans, it was more of a Trickster focus here for Taco Gaming. And on the other side, it looks like it was actually Shochi getting targeted here. Wouldn't be surprised to see this Gragas lock in, because Cozy, might be on that weak side traditionally. But the Jarvan here may be a bit of a takeaway against Winston.
Yeah, Jarvan's actually very surprising to me here. I feel like the Taco Gaming composition doesn't really have the best synergy with it so far. You can set up for the knockup, however, with Yasuo, but Jarvan generally likes longer range carries or full dive, and I feel like Taco Gaming is neither. They're a little bit more in and out of fights, but it is very strong in the early game, definitely denying a comfort pick for Winston. I love the Veigar ban from Taco Gaming. It does really well into the Ryze due to Ryze's short range, as well as absolutely stuffing Yasuo. Like entirely. So definitely a great bam right there, as we see a safe blind Renekton in here for Anime Girl. We've seen him play it a few times already, I do believe, in Proving Grounds so far. So not surprising.
This a pivot?
Whoa.
Could be.
We've seen Shochi played a game of Lux in PGCQ
I was gonna say I really would have liked to see a Twisted Fate come out of Shochi here, just to add to the global presence in terms of, now that IMT AOE really are focusing bot lane with this Caitlyn Lux, having that extra ability to roam is going to be important, and I think the Zilean does a very similar job here. Obviously a little bit more complex, a little bit harder to play mechanically, so to speak, but this is something that Shochi played a lot in his days on Radiance back in the summer split, so definitely comfortable on this champion. Last pick will be going over to Cozy. Thought we could get some spice with that Malphite Yasuo combo, but instead it will just be that standard Gnar lane that a lot of top laners have seemed to be opting for.
Yeah, wow, really interesting second round of picks coming through from both teams. I definitely think Twisted Fate would not have been the pick here for AoE, just because I think it struggles into the Yasuo Senna later on. However, I do agree that roaming presence is good, which is why I like the Zilean so much. However, it is a little bit of a pivot, I think, for this IMA composition, where they were set up for a really strong skirmish on the bottom side with Caitlyn Lux pushing lane, and then the Jhin Zhao walking in for Winston. But now that you've got the Yasuo Senna, I feel like kind of throwing IMA for a loop. They've got the Zilean lock-in, which it will be really strong in later game team fights, but Caitlyn not necessarily what you would consider an insane hyper carry like, say, the Jinx, which, remember, won unpicked and banned in this game. And then as well, you're sort of giving the lane to the Rise, who can hyperscale up to be an absolute monster later on. And then you've also got the counterpick Gnar of the Renekton. So I feel like Taco Gaming, they've actually drafted themselves a pretty nice composition. I would say it's very volatile. But I'm a fan, Graves.
Yeah, and it is interesting that you bring that up there, Hawk, just considering the potential for maybe some lack of damage on IMA's side if we get to some of those later stages of the game. Senna will outscale that Caitlyn. Obviously, you'll have a Yasuo by their side as well. Shochi, again, is going to have to do a lot of work here once we get to some of these team fights, making sure that somebody, a big carry like Winston or Anime Girl up in the front line, will be able to survive for as long as possible and potentially could be able to dive onto one of these backline carries here with maybe some of the movement speed that he's able to provide as well. So a bit of an interesting composition from both of these teams, but I think the focus here in terms of what we set up still sort of applies.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we were talking about Shoshi pulling out anything. I gotta be honest, I did not have Zillion on my bingo card today for Shoshi, even though I was expecting things that could roam around. I feel like Shochi generally likes to do damage despite playing to support the team. However, this Zillion is very much a team-focused pick. What I will say for the IMA composition as a whole as well, and it plays off the Zillion pick, and it plays off of Shochi's ability to do anything, is it provides so much pick potential. IMA's ability to find a single target and blow them off the face of the rift is extremely good. With Zillion speed up, Xin Zhao running in, Renekton running in, Caitlyn, Lux following up from long range. If somebody on Taco Gaming gets caught, they will die.
And that was something that Taco Gaming definitely struggled with in their last series against IMT AOE. There were a bunch of points where Immortals got a free Baron, essentially, off of a simple pick on to the likes of Trickster or Doxa, which ended up blowing the game wide open and led to them taking those victories. And it's just why they are 3-0 against Taco Gaming. But of course, this map sense was something that we mentioned in terms of why Rovex was brought into the lineup. Might not be as much of a roaming style here for Rovex on this Yasuo. Wants to get as much farm as possible.
Those Yasuo roams, Grapes. Just you wait.
I'm just saying, if you're in the other lanes, you're not getting CS. You're not getting those extra minions into the back pocket of the support, which is obviously something that we see. But either way, I think Rovex and the rest of Taco Gaming have a lot to prove here in this game. Of course, as we keep alluding to again and again, this is a matchup that we've seen before. Immortals AOE listed at that number 2 seed, Taco Gaming down at 9. So this is not necessarily the highest disparity, and especially the history probably signifies an Immortals AOE victory. But with the composition that Taco Gaming sets up, if they're able to provide some spice, so to speak, here on Taco Tuesday, I'd be in for a bit of a fun game here, Hawk.
At the very least, this Taco Gaming composition is spicy, like you said. They've got the powder or whatever, the spice on their tacos.
The grocery store seasoning.
It'll be fun to watch. And I think, especially in an open qualifier, when you're already poised to make it, you just need one more win and you have 3 games today up against a team of the caliber of IMT AOE. Why not try to do something that maybe you've been practicing and see if you can break off a win and secure your ticket to the main group stage?
I mean, that's where it's going to start. As we said, that 3rd win is the all-coveted number that these teams are both vying for. And hey, they're only 1 behind now at 2-0. Could be a nice little sigh of relief as they go through the rest of their night without having to worry about not being in the tournament by next week. And just very excited to see this matchup here. I know that every single player, every single coach on Taco Gaming really wants this win against Immortals AOE. 3rd time was not the charm for them, so it's going to have to be that 4th.
Yeah, Grapes, I just love it. We've already got a rivalry brewing, and it's only the 2nd tournament of 2022. This is just so incredibly exciting, getting to see Taco and IMT AOE this early. I mean, this is a potential preview of things that will come way later down the road in the knockout stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as we go through the rest of the open qualifiers, lots of amazing teams that we have to keep our eyes on as well. Still have not seen 100 Next on any of the main streams here on Unified, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled as we go throughout the day. But we are on to the Rift for game number 3 here of the Proving Grounds Open Qualifier, the 2nd one at that. Of course, IMT AOE and Taco Gaming, they're both sitting at those 2-0 slots. Important to note, before we get into the game, we will be referring to Wentworth Miller as Winston. Again, we are on the live servers before we get into the main event. So just in terms of settling any sort of miscommunications, that's the classification we're going to go for here.
Yeah, sounds good. We've got Winston there on the Xin Zhao, who interestingly started a control ward 1 potion. So getting a control ward already down to protect Anime Girl, perhaps expecting Trickster to go for a little bit of early shenanigans up towards the Crocodile on the top side. But Grapes, I want to take a step back for a minute, because coming into the draft, we said that these teams had carries in every role, and I think we might have taken that a little too literally, because we've got our supports playing carries in this game. That is a Lux against the Yasuo. That is a mid lane matchup. I think the most supportive champion of this game is Mr. Chameleon in Shochi.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening there. Jungler's going to be starting both on the top side, with Winston not on the Jarvan. Probably won't see those, classic level 2 mid ganks for the AOE jungler, but definitely expect him to get out onto the map as early as possible, still on this heavy ganking jungler like the Xin Zhao. Looks like the bot lane will be the topic of conversation for both of these teams, though, as both the junglers are padding down there.
Yeah, really interesting, though. Winston actually getting a leashless clear, as is Trickster, so perhaps there's AOE's not going to go for anything super early, but Anime Girl...
What flash?
Has him!
Anime Girl!
When was the last time you saw a level 1 Renekton get a solo kill, Grapes? Never? That was insane! Anime Girl just ran down the Gnar.
That was an interesting play, I have to say. First blood to IMT AOE. Congratulations, Anime Girl, for getting that first kill, I guess. And gonna be a bit of a harder time maybe for Cozy, who ended up picking this Gnar into the Renekton here. Just with him maybe trying to build that rage bar up, but just did not get to that threshold in time.
Yeah, I mean, Cozy just, I feel like disrespecting the Crocodile just a little bit. Yeah, Gnar can harass with grass, but if the Crocodile gets on top of you, he does do more damage, as we see Winston going for a gank.
Bot side straight to mid. Docs are going to dash away from the wood, becomes lightning. As Winston unable to get a kill here, did burn that flash, so nice crucial summoner spell used there. Winston definitely is known for going for some of these return ganks, so expect more action in the mid lane down the line.
Yeah, but look at this. Trickster walking in. Remember, Winston only started with 1 potion, so he's very low and has no way to really sustain up in his jungle. Trickster will kill him if he finds a red buff still available. So Winston potentially getting forced out. Need to be careful of the bot lane roam, though.
He's not even going to go for the red buff.
very
Instead, pathing down towards the Krugs. Yeah, he was worried. He kind of spotted out the bait, I think. Trickster with a bit of a known play there, so it looks like not going to be able to get any sort of additional advantage there. And for this Taco Gaming jungler, instead of the counter jungling, going to have to be making a play down here against Meech and Trevor. Rovek's going to try to dash forward as well, forcing that flash early due to the flag and drag. And I think that the IMT AoE bot lane have gotten out far under the turret so that they cannot be fired upon for much longer. So not another kill going into the hands of Taco Gaming just yet, but again, take a look here. Now Winston may be looking for this as well, and maybe Taco Gaming's bot lane have stepped a bit too far. Winston looking for this, going to dash forward in onto Rovix, following the flash. The exhaust is now onto the Xin Zhao, so has not been able to take down the Yasuo just yet, but Meech is going to be the one to secure the second kill of the game. Trickster now returning here, but it's a level down. Meech doesn't have a really sort of escape, but he's able to put in enough damage to secure the kill onto Trickster before falling. Link's now forced to flash away, but he will not be able to get away with his life. Another kill into the hands of Winston, and it is immediately 4-1 AoE to start us off.
Wow, it's an early 3v3 on the bottom side. It's IMT AOE that comes out on top. Early flash was blown by Trickster, but he goes back to the Scuttle Crab, and just intelligent jungling from Winston. He doesn't walk into the red buff and give away a solo kill. Paths around the vision control that was put down by Taco. They're able to single out Rovex. Flash doesn't matter, and just look at the way Meech plays this dive. Trap into net, into Q, gets 2 headshots and the Q damage down, essentially one-shotting the Jarvan. So although the Caitlyn falls, his job was done. He's able to get the damage down. The rest of the team in Trevor and Winston clean up the kills, and IMT AoE is off to the races in the early game.
And even the movement there as well from Meech, getting away from both the flag and drag and that Senna route, could have definitely spelled doom for him if any of those abilities hit, and might have been the difference maker in terms of a turnaround there for Taco Gaming, but instead just will be AoE again in this spot that they've been in before against Taco Gaming, an early game lead, up about 1,500 gold just past this 5-minute mark, and Trickster going to have to make some more aggressive plays eventually here if he wants to keep his team alive here in this game. Remember, he's the one who's been facilitating, been making the plays across the map here for this Taco Gaming roster. They're going to need some help real soon.
Yeah, and Grapes, remember, this game was all about the jungle matchup as well as the side lanes as we hold that.
There we go, yeah. As we say that, right on cue, Doxa and Trickster coming straight forward, trying to punish the Caitlyn Lux. No flashes, and Trevor is the one to go down first. Beautiful turnaround, beautiful execution. Trickster with the incredible roam bot alongside his mid laner to pick up 2 more kills for TG.
Yeah, beautiful punish right there from Taco Gaming. IMT AOE, remember, they expended a lot of resources to get those 3 kills earlier, and all the flashes and summoner spells were down. So Meech and Trevor just get taken down, even though they were positioning defensively. It's just too hard to get away from an early game Jarvan. So Taco Gaming, they're able to punch back, and it was just as I was saying, this game is about the side lane. So seeing the side lanes go so poorly for Taco Gaming so early was very concerning. But being able to punch back like that definitely keeps this game competitive.
And you have to take a look at the left side of your screen here. Those flashes for Meech and Trevor are still down for another 2, maybe 3 minutes here. So now, Trickster might have to continue to look down there towards the bottom lane, keep getting Lynx and Rovex into more advantageous situations,
that
and
was
punish
without Cataclysm.
this Caitlyn Lux that was picked up very early on in the draft. And as the levels continue to come through, easier, more opportunities for Trickster could open up. So we got to just see how the pathing goes. Started towards this top side right now.
Yeah, that gank was without Cataclysm. Winston is a little bit ahead in XP as he was farming up during that time. Now Lynx and Rovex, they're going to be the ones having to play defensively.
Yep, here we go. Black Mist will secure some vision safety for now, but there comes that Crescent Guard, and
so
immediately the entire AoE roster will be locking down the side of Lynx. Rovex gets a trick hit in return as Trevor goes down. Winston was only 1 tower shot away from falling as well, so not as one-sided as you might have thought, but still 2 for 1 on the side of Immortals AOE. They get the return in the bottom lane.
Well, Grapes, I'm not going to say this is a surprise. It is an absolute bloodbath on the bottom side of the map right now. Just one jungler after another. They're taking turns just diving bot lane. But really nice play by Rovex, able to find the tornado on Trevor, who was tanking up the turret for his team, forcing the Lux to take 1 too many tower shots and actually falling, trading back a kill. So although it is still an IMT AoE favored play, Taco Gaming being able to trade 1 back definitely feels pretty good as Anime Girl on the top side just holding a freeze as we do see IMT AoE swapping their support up to the top side.
Yep, alongside Shochi here as well. 4 members of IMT AoE around this Rift Herald. Trickster is the one to start it up though. The rest of the collapse could be imminent here for Taco Gaming, though. You see it on your minimap that Lynx and Rovex are headed to the scene of the crime, but it might just be too late. We'll see here. Cataclysm coming out. Trickster trying to heal up a little bit with the smite, but he'll be the first casualty in this fight. Cozy forced to jump away here as he enters Meganar, but lands a 3-man stun. Here comes Rovex. Can they get anything done here? The health bars are still looking good for AoE. It's a double kill for Shochi, and now Doxa and Lynx are forced to run for the hills. Bit of an overcommitment potentially for Taco Gaming, and now can AoE look for more? Trevor trying to go forward here, has some range there with the E, but it's not enough to lock down Rovex in that regard. So again, IMT AoE getting that victory here in the top side. They rotated first, and they're the ones to pick up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, IMT AoE rotates first, and Taco, they actually sent their entire team. So Meech gets a farm up on the bottom side, and IMT AoE wins the fight. And this is a mistake I so often see teams make in the Gnar versus Renekton matchup. Yes, Gnar can do well into the Renekton, but Renekton skirmishes better in the early game in these team fight situations. So Anime Girl just rocks up to the fight and absolutely smashes it. And, you know, Grapes, we didn't really get a chance to talk about this player too much in the early game, but Anime Girl has been absolutely incredible so far for Immortals AOE this year, coming from seemingly nowhere. His first tournament was EGL Summer Splash last year for Striking Vipers, now playing for, I think, what many would consider to be the 2nd best amateur team in North America, is absolutely just insane in lane. He's up 20 CS in a counter matchup, has a solo kill to his name as well. Absolutely popping off up here on the top side.
Yeah, Anime Girl, a player that was around in the lower levels of amateur in the past year, but has really made his big explosion this season so far on this Immortals AOE roster. On a Renekton, a pick that we don't see him too much on, and now we'll see if Taco Gaming can get a sort of trade here. Lynx misses that initial route, and now the Crescent Guard's coming in, and Winston is looking to re-engage. Flag and Drag out will buffer the knockup of the 3 Talon Strike, and Trickster will escape with his life for now.
Yep, super nice buffer, but it is the dive being thwarted here by the side of IMT AoE. Now, as I said, Doxa farming up pretty nicely on this Rise. The Zillion not really able to keep up in lane, but the fight's not done.
Winston still looking to go in. That's the flag and drag with that last breath, and Trickster and Rovex are straight into the backline of AoE, but the health bars are still up for the blue team side. Finally, the kills will start to go in, but they're all for AoE as Taco Gaming gets wiped 3-0.
Oh, IMT AoE, they're just firing on all cylinders. Anime Girl roams down first. Cozy was not anywhere to be found. And Winston just lives for so long, engages the fight onto Trickster. Dox is zoned out by the Renekton on the backside. And even though the Zilean ultimate goes down a little, it's a split focus between Rovex and Trickster, so they're not able to finish off anyone. And it ends up being a 3-for-0. Meat's gonna take a tower on the bottom side as well. IMT AoE just looking like the second best team in Amateur Grapes.
Yeah, and I want to point out Shochi once again there on that Zilean. Obviously putting that revive onto Winston. Didn't end up actually proccing, but just the way that it ended up working out forced the split of attention, as you said, by the side of Taco Gaming. And with that, they weren't able to finish off the kills on Winston or anybody else, in fact. The Dragon has been started up here for TG.
Yeah, Dragon's been started. Probably going to be another fight, but Meech is one of the richest people in this game, and he wasn't even in the last 2 fights.
Oh, Trickster is going to get deleted, and so does the Dragon. It's going to be a Winston steal. It is all AoE IMT at this point in the game. Winston doing so much here in this jungle matchup. A lot more than Trickster has.
Yeah, that Dragon Steel hurts for sure. I mean, at this point, Taco Gaming, one of their only win conditions it felt like that was remaining was getting that Dragon Soul stacking, and they're not even able to find it. As Dox is going to die, probably.
He's going to flash away when Becomes Lightning does land, but no charge here for Winston, so it's going to be the Rise surviving for now. Has it Everfrost completed? Will be a strong late game carry if they end up getting to that point, particularly the level disadvantage here. Is 2 for the side of Trickster, but they're looking for something. Shochi with the double bomb on top of Link will take him down immediately to start the fight off. Meech will go down to the tornado of Rovex, but what can the rest of IMT AoE do? Rovex goes down to the side of Winston again, and he's continuing to chase forward. Has the charge, will flash forward and pick up another onto Doxa. Trickster is still alive. Will he be for long? Yes, he will. The bomb was not able to connect, so just another escape here for the Taco Gaming jungler, but still another 3 kills going into the hands of IMT AoE. Winston just continuing to show his dominance here in the jungle matchup.
Yeah, and it's going to be another tower as well. Shochi and Winston just roaming around together. You cannot fight into the Xin Zilean. Link's just finally hitting level 6. I mean, IMT AoE just looking so good again. I actually reached out. Oh, hold that thought. Trickster getting solo killed by a support.
Yeah, will Trevor be able to do it? Does have that completed crown. Cozy's here to try and do something. There's that Dawning Shadow to buy some time. The flag and drag forward might have been a bit over ambitious there, as Trickster will just go down in the 1v1 to Trevor. It was a 2v1 technically with the Senna ult over the top as well. So just shows the kind of state of the game that we are in here when the support Lux has the most kills in the game.
Yeah, that's a 6-3 and 11 Lux Grapes. That is an insane scoreline for Trevor down here on the bottom side. But, you know, I was talking to Riley, the CEO of AoE, and he says that he wants his team to go even further this year than they did last year. Of course, AoE, they made Proving Grounds in summer after some pretty strong showings. They were in finals of EGL Summer in that final Tier 2 tournament, and he says that this year they want to make the main stage again and they want to go further than they had, as the fighting does not stop.
Well, yeah, they're off to a good start, I would say, as they're looking like they're going to make their way back into here. Nice 2-man ultimate, though, coming out from Rovex. The Cataclysm does catch on to 3. First kill onto Trevor here in this fight, as Cozy has joined the party as well. The Crescent Guard doing a lot to buy a lot of time here for Winston, who's healing up with the Gore Drinker as well. Rovex still trying to do something here. Cozy's nearing Mega Nardox on the other side is fighting. It's a 1v2. Nice shutdown. Will go in onto the Yasuo. Taco Gaming might have found the fight that they need. But now, will they be able to escape here with their lives? Dominance popped early by Anime Girl. He's looking to try and go for an assassination attempt. But who's assassinating who? Cozy jumping forward and picking up 2 kills as Mish goes down as well. Anime Girl now stuck in this 1v3 as it's going to be Lynx having to rein in some of the damage as well. Doxa trying to escape here, but the Croc is not tanky enough. Huge shutdowns going into the favor of Taco Gaming. I think that's 5 kills.
Yeah, Taco Gaming with the delayed ace. IMT AoE just a massively split fight, biting off a little bit too much right there and not able to clean it up. It starts off with the portal all the way behind from Winston to keep trying to pick on this Senna, who is so squishy, but Link's really nice sidestep on the double bomb. Although he ends up getting one shot, that is a lot committed here, and the re-engage from Trickster, finding the double knock-up into the Yasuo ultimate. And then now, IMT AOE, they're sort of stuck in an awkward spot. They're in a choke point, grouped up as 3, and Doxa, Cozy, and Rovex, they're just able to rein in the damage and eventually clean up the kills.
Yeah. I mean, look how strong Doxa was there in that 1v2, taking on Shochi and Meech single-handedly, while Cozy and Rovex finished off the job onto the other members there of IMT AOE. So gold lead still in favor of the Immortals squad at around 5,000 or so, but Taco Gaming showing that if the fight is right, if the scaling starts to come through, they still have a shot in this game.
Absolutely. If Taco Gaming can find the Wombo combo, it is definitely not over in this one, but it will take a few more of those plays from AoE, some of those over-ambitious looks, shall we say. And with Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, you'd have to imagine this one will be given over uncontested. Of course, it is only 1-1, so Soul is at least 10 minutes away should IMT AoE pick this one up. But it does mean Taco Gaming, they're going to get some free time on the top side, take a tower for themselves in the game, so gold lead has shrunk to only about 4,000 Graves.
Yeah, and again, eyes have to be on Rovex here. This new addition to the Taco Gaming roster, leading the team in kills, has that Immortal Shield Bow completed as well, so we'll have the potential to do some work, especially combined with Trickster, with that flag and drag combo that we saw earlier on in that fight. As it's going to be a trade of these major objectives, as Taco Gaming going to get some extra turret priority here with this Herald take, and on the other side, IMT AOE will secure their second Drake.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty advantageous trade here for Taco Gaming. They're able to get a tower on the top side as well as the Herald, which means they should be able to get a second tower for it, which will be a big injection of gold and map pressure back into their pockets. So, yeah, you give away the dragon, but you might give away the fight.
Anime Girl and Shochi arriving on that ward onto the backside. Here they go. Flash forward with the dominance in a 3-man stun from Shochi. Locks down all of Taco Gaming. It's already 2 kills. Might be more. As you know, Cozy's going to try to do his best in the 1v4, but he's not tanky enough to survive. Rovex will get taken down with the ace in the hole. 4-0 in favor of IMT AOE with a beautifully placed flank there by their solo laners.
Oh my word! Anime Girl TPing into the mid lane, flash to start off the fight, but it's Shochi, the chameleon on the Zillion, finds the 3-man double bomb, basically solo winning the team fight for his team. And Grapes, we said if Taco Gaming can find the angle, they can still win the fights. Well, that was certainly not it, as IMT AOE got exactly what they wanted out of that play.
Definitely not the angle that they were looking for, and there was just so many things that went right there. You have to watch this ward up here. Lynx tried to root them up there with the E, but it was just a little bit too early, and that's the collapse that AOE really needed here in this fight.
Yeah, Taco Gaming actually does a really nice job buying time with root and the flash out, but unfortunately they're just split 3 and 2 over that river wall, and Anime Girl keeps them split apart with the help of Shochi. The double bombs in, the flash forward, Rovex and Lynx just aren't really able to get up into this fight and set up the way that they want to. Taco Gaming's composition really needs to be the aggressor, it seems like. So, just a really difficult situation for Taco, and they're not able to find it.
It's a Void Staff on Trevor right now. 2 completed items here on this Lux, and 23 out of the 24 kill participation is one of the most impressive things that I've seen so far in the PGCQ. I mean, Trevor here on this Lux was supposed to be a lane dominant pick, but it's also impacting the map on the other side towards that bottom lane. Taco Gaming going to pick up an objective bounty there with the tower, but Anime Girl now looking to go aggressive. The Everfrost does land Trickster here with the flag and drag to try and ward the rest of his team off, as Rovex does have that shield bow popped onto himself. The rest of the team is here to try and disengage, and I think Rovex is going to get out for now.
Yeah, but Winston, though, could be caught.
Yeah, here they go. Crescent Guard beautifully shoves Trickster out of the own Cataclysm, and now he's actually the one who could be in trouble. Big damage from the bomb, and Lynx is already very low. Winston picking up the first kill of the fight as Trickster goes down. Now Doxa and Rovex have to do the work here. But look at the backside. Rovex trying to do something with that last breath on the Anime Girl, but he has the Zillion up on him. Don't even know if he needed it, actually, but it is still going to be that win here for the side of Immortals AOE. Down goes Doxa, the ace confirmed. And up in the top side is just Meech and Trevor pushing up into the base.
Yeah, in a 3v4, IMT AOE manages to find it, and Meech and Trevor pushing on the top side as well. Just when it seemed like the game might be starting to get close, IMT AOE stamps their foot down. They win on the bot side, they win on the top side, they've broken the base. I mean, this game is looking all but over. 10,000 gold lead at 20 minutes.
Very impressive stuff from IMT AOE, to say the least. I mean, this is a Taco Gaming roster that has been so strong. They upgraded, not upgraded, potentially upgraded in their support position here with Rovex coming in. They tried an innovative strategy here. They were looking very, very confident in their abilities to perform well in the PGCQ to make a top 4, top 2 run. But right now, IMT AOE is showing that, you know, there's a reason that they've lost 3 times in a row. They're going to try to make it 4.
Yeah, absolutely. IMT AOE, again, I think arguably the more complete team, and they're just showing why. All 5 of their players playing so well. And Grapes, I want to say too, I feel like Taco Gaming has not played a bad game here. It's just so difficult to fight into a decisive and coordinated looking team such as Immortals Area of Effect. It's incredible.
We'll see what Taco Gaming can do as the game is starting to maybe close in on them a little bit here. Just seems like a lot of the carry potential from some of the early game champs were able to capitalize, and because of that, it's just IMT AOE with a tremendous lead. They still have so much pick potential, so much ability to find random kills and win these short skirmishes that end up erupting. And with all this priority here now around this Baron pit, you have to wonder if Taco Gaming is going to have to force a fight soon.
Yeah, but it might be IMT AOE forcing the fight. Lynx and Rovex
Oh my gosh, yeah.
stuck between a rock and a hard place.
The wind wall will come out here, but look at the teleport. Anime Girl is trying to cut Rovex off and cut him off. He certainly shall. The shield bow won't do anything to save the life of the newly acquired Taco Gaming bot laner. And so, with that, it'll be Soul Point with the Hextech Drake coming through for Immortals AOE. Doxa trying his best to escape with that Realm Warp, and might be able to get out. Don't know if, you know, Trevor wants to expend that final spark cooldown to try and scout out for his team. So instead, it'll just be them focusing their attention to other sides of the map. That's a guaranteed kill onto Lynx as Trevor gets kill number 9 on the board. Now Cozy forced to run away in the Mega Gnar form. Still has that flash, but still might be in a whole lot of trouble here. Blast Cone does get canceled. Doxa, instead of looking for the reset, he's going to try to get something on the other side as the rest of his team is definitely struggling here. Trickster now running to the opposite direction as well. IMT AOE, they're just going to chase as much as possible because they know that the game is well within their grasp. Cataclysm forward as Trickster just tries to buy some time, but it will not be enough. Shochi surviving through that Chrono Shift, and Doxa is going to try to do his best here in the 1v1, but don't know if it's going to be enough to change the lead that's opened up here for Immortals.
Yeah, Doxa, he's objective bounded gaming right now. He knows that his team isn't going to be able to win a team fight, and IMT AOE showing why. They got into Dragon Soul Point. They're going to take the Baron as well. Lynx, I don't think you want to be there, my friend, as the teleport's coming in from Shochi, probably just to zone him away.
Yes, 25 Magi stacks.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point. That is a 3-item Zillion with 25 Magi stacks. 5, 1, and 16. Grapes, I didn't have the Zillion on my Shochi bingo card for today, and maybe I should have, because this has been a very impressive performance from him and the entirety of his squad. Trevor as well, 10, 4, and 17 on the support Lux. Deleted Lynx in the last team fight.
Yeah, and it's been very, very impressive stuff from both of those players here on the more supportive-oriented roles, showing that they're able to do the damage and carry these fights as well. As now, you know, Taco Gaming might have stepped a little bit too far forward. The Hex Gates are doing a very good job at trying to get them away here. Big damage from the bomb. Everfrost was nearly in time. The Realm Warp will save Taco Gaming for now, but look at the Hex Gates. They're going forward again, but Trevor might have gone a bit too far there. Gonna pop the Zhonya's Hourglass to crown about so much time. He'll be able to flash away and will be able to survive, and here comes the rest of the flank. There's Winston here with the Hex Gate again, fighting in this 1v2. They do take down Meech there with the Cataclysm. Shochi in a bit of trouble as well, but down goes Trickster onto the front side of this fight. Anime Girl doing so much work, is so tanky on this Renekton, dashing and slashing through the entire Taco Gaming roster. A double kill for the Croc as Lynx gonna try to get away, but it might just be a bit too difficult for him. There comes Winston as well with the movement speed of Shochi. Just, yeah, this Lynx is dead. We can keep going here in this game.
Yeah, well, as Lynx gets run down, I almost wonder if there's a misclick from Trevor accidentally sending himself on a magical journey into the entirety of Taco Gaming, but between Crown and Zhonya is actually able to buy a hell of a lot of time. First team to arrive flashes out. Meech ends up being the one to drop, but once the Crocodile arrives, there's not really anything you can do. Winston on the backside as well. He takes care of the back line. Anime Girl takes care of the front line. It's a little 1-2 punch right there from the side of IMT AOE. They're able to break the base one more time. No inhibitors have been taken yet, and 26 minutes into the game, Graves, I'm almost amazed we've made it this long considering how far ahead IMT AOE is.
Is there a bug on my screen? Is there really 37 kills from Immortals AOE here in this game?
Oh my word.
That is
absurd.
And
keep in mind, that's not the entire game.
I mean, look, it might be
from
5
one
more.
Team.
Maybe 5 more, just a little bit. Here comes Anime Girl on the flank with the dominance. Going forward straight is
Dox
Winston with the Crescent Guard. Link's trying to do something with the Dawning Shadow, but Dox, the main carry, is down first in the fight. And Anime Girl just does whatever he wants here into this front line. Now unstoppable on the Renekton Trickster with a last-ditch flag and drag, but last-ditch it will be. Taco Gaming coming in on the Taco Tuesday, going to suffer a little bit of heartburn early on, as IMT AOE will be the first team here to qualify for the main stage of the PCGQ.
Make it 0-4, Graves, as Taco Gaming just can't seem to shake off their demons in IMT AOE. I said I was surprised the game is still going. I'd have to expect it'll end right here. All 3Ms being taken, but no! IMT AOE, they're going to recall! It's not over!
Man. I did my whole post-game wrap up, and I guess the game will be going on a little bit longer, but we get to see some more one-shots maybe from Trevor. Taco Gaming still, definitely reeling after that last fight, and for a team like this, you know that there's a lot of resilient players here on this roster. They just want to continue to win as much as they can, and so even though this game might not have been exactly what they wanted, they definitely do have a fair shot of continuing to go forward. Will most likely, unless all things go wrong, get into that PGCQ main stage. But Link's probably not going to do a whole lot in this fight.
Yeah, I don't think this game is a testament to Taco Gaming. I think this is a testament to how good Immortals AOE is.
Yeah.
They are showing why they're the #2 seed in this tournament. But I want to see the XP in this game, because I'm pretty sure Lynx is level 10. While the lowest level on Immortals AOE is 14. Likewise, Trickster just hit level 12. His opposite number is 15.
Yeah, so it's not just the kills, it's also the levels, as down goes Doxa. I mean, Doxa was the one who we were thinking could maybe provide a little bit of late game insurance, but I don't think we're going to be getting to that late game here. Hawk dashing forward is Winston, and they're going to try to finish off the job against Taco Gaming. Nexus Tower is now under fire. Winston straight up 1v4ing here around the fountain. Trickster gonna try to do something. There comes the last breath. Meech does end up going down. It's an all-out bloodbath here inside the Cataclysm, but the rest of Taco Gaming is forced to flash away from their own defensive ultimate. Cozy will get knocked up here. Will land the Mega on the 2. Will send Winston into the fountain, but it will just not be enough. It's a 2v3, but Trickster and Cozy don't do enough damage, I think. There comes Trevor with the final spark in the melee range, as he will go down before the game ends, but I don't think he's going to care too much about that. IMT AOE winning in 29 minutes.
Yeah, 29 minutes and 46 kills later, Grapes. IMT AOE finally stamps the final seal of victory on that one. I think there was no doubt in our minds from pretty early on into that game where it was going, but it was no less entertaining.
Yeah, and with that victory, again, Immortals AOE are one of the first teams here to secure their spot in the Proving Grounds qualifier main stage that will be starting next Monday. So congratulations to them. Definitely know that they wanted to be back here, wanting to defend that semifinal appearance, maybe make it a little bit more as they continue to go through and try to qualify for Proving Grounds. Looking like they're in a very good spot to do so here after that win, as they have just looked absolutely dominant so far today.
Absolutely. And, respect to Taco Gaming as well. They tried something a little bit unorthodox against a team that, they weren't expected to beat anyway, right? So I like the attempt, and I think it was a really good one. I think the early game was actually pretty entertaining, and they were able to make a lot of things happen. Unfortunately, while they were getting a lot of plays, so was IMT AOE. And IMT AOE just happened to get more. It was really around that Rift Herald play, I would say. The flank from Anime Girl, blowing the game wide open in that moment. So but I think there's a lot to look forward to for this Taco Gaming roster. I would be very surprised if they weren't able to pick up their third win in the next 2 games.
Yeah, and still, as we said, lots of opportunities for them. They have 2 more matches to get that win, maybe even go a little bit further throughout the rest of this open qualifier. But with that, it is just Immortals AOE you know, taking that victory, getting into that 3-0 position, and they'll be playing against another team that ended up at 3-0. If we take a look at some of the other standings that we have here, and some of the matchup results that have ended up happening, Maryville on the B stream ended up taking the win, and 100 Thieves Next also winning that one as well. So a lot of exciting matchups here to come through, and we'll see one of those matchups here in a little bit later. I believe that we're actually receiving word that Wildcard also
This is a
ended up
crazy
dropping
one.
another game, so that's not something that a lot of people might have been expecting, losing to York Lions, I believe, who were one of the lower seeds in the tournament. Bit of an interesting thing here. So as we continue, make sure to check out that spreadsheet that is available for all of the match results. But with that being said, going to take a short break before we get into round 4 of the Swiss bracket. But before we do so, got to go thank our sponsors here at Skulls. If you're looking to upgrade Skulls, hoodies, joggers, jerseys, armbands, and a lot more are coming soon. You know, if you go and check out skulls.com/collection/unified, has everything that you need. You have the skill, now get the swag. Gear up, game on, Skulls. Once again, taking a short break here after IMT AOE have locked in their spot into the main stage. We'll be right back in as soon as the matchups have completed and we know who we will be covering in that next matchup. Definitely going to be an exciting one, so make sure to stay tuned.
Yes, it will.